That is fair. With that, we'll move on to the team that finished in 7th in the Pacific Division last season, the San Jose Sharks, who are also in an interesting spot because you talk about this lineup now at this stage, and when you're talking about additions, well, Mike Hoffman's a Shark again. That's fun.
Yeah, baby. Legend. Sharks legend, Mike Hoffman.
Anthony Duclair and Mikhail Granlund are there now, too. That's exciting.
I honestly keep forgetting about Granlund. That's so funny. But I am stoked about Duclair. But first liner Duclair.
Ruda? Mackenzie Blackwood's there now, too.
Oh, yeah. Man, Blackwood, his career just... yeah.
You might be missing... Eric something. He's off the team now.
Sorry, dude, we got Henry Thrun, man.
This team is going to suck.
I'm going to enjoy watching them, though. Just for the sole purpose that Eklund and Bordelot are 90% making this team, and that's what I'm really stoked about. I want to see that little bromance turn into some cool NHL action and just watch them learn. Like, I'm heading in with zero expectations, as I was last season. And I'm like, holy crap, Erik Karlsson's fun to watch, but I think I may even have more fun watching just because there's so much young talent and so many opportunities for them to make the team. And hey, you never know. We throw Duclair and Hoffman on that first line. You know how much we might be able to get some decent stuff back for them at the deadline. Or you keep Duclair. No way you keep Hoffman, though. He's 33 at this point. 32,
yes,
33?
correct.
Yeah,
right on the money.
Yeah, so, but I'm just excited to watch them. As crap as they're going to be, I think the games will at least be exciting. But hey, you know what? We got Ryan Miller helping out our goaltenders now. Everyone remember that? Ryan Miller in teal. What the hell? The most Sharks picture ever. Ryan Miller helping out Mackenzie Blackwood in net.
I mean, that's just where they are right now, right? Like, they are finally rebuilding, which a lot of Sharks fans really never thought they'd actually do.
Yeah.
And that's the key to rebuilding. You play the younger guys, and then you bring in those type of players I mentioned, someone like Filip Zadina as well, to try and rehab a little bit, get that value up there. Maybe if you're Zadina, you're 23 years old. If you get rehabbed, you can stay there and you have a home. But if Granlund, Hoffman, Duclair, who's only 28, by the way, which seems crazy. It feels like he's been around forever at this point. If those guys have good seasons, and like you mentioned, you can flip those guys out, get more prospects, get more picks, keep that factory kind of moving along. But yeah, in the meantime, it's funny because I said for Anaheim I expected about the same. Technically, I think they'll do better than the Sharks this year. I don't think they'll be that much better. The Sharks are going to be worse than last year, which is... Well, maybe not then. They had 22 wins. I don't know if I see them winning less than 22 games.
Here's the thing. Like, if you look at some of the underlying analytics, the Sharks probably shouldn't have been as bad as they were record-wise last year because they were really tough to actually beat. Like, there's we had so many overtime losses. I think we had like 15 plus overtime losses. I'm gonna look that up right now.
16.
16.
Yeah. Like, that's kind of crazy. Like, the amount of times we forced overtime. Like, we could have either had 16 more points or 16 less points if we were crappier, but we weren't. Like, they were... Yeah, like, there's a really good article by our old athletic reporter, Corey Masisak, and it was just, like, showing, like, these numbers that, like, it's kind of impressive that the Sharks ended up with the 4th overall pick. They could have had more of, like, towards 7, 8, 9, just based on how tough they were to beat. But now, you might be right. We're probably going to have around 20, 25 wins, but I don't think you see those overtime losses. When we lose, we're going to lose because that D-core is filled with top 6 D-men who are going to have to play top 2 minutes.
Yeah, that D-core right now, just to go through it, and obviously, like you mentioned, there are some younger guys, Henry Thrun, that could make it that you guys acquired towards the end of last season after he was coming out of college, elected not to sign with the Ducks, coincidentally. And some other guys, like, I mean, again, I could go through the younger players. There were dudes that could make it. But right now, Cap Friendly has their defense listed as Mario Ferraro and Matt Benning, For my money, Matt Benning is the best defenseman on that team.
Whoa. I will have no Mario Ferraro slander on this podcast. He tries so hard.
Mark-Edouard Vlasic and Jan Ruda. Radim Shimmick and Kyle Burrows. Which I feel like a lot of people are going to be like, oh, there's another Burrows? And no, it's not spelled the same. I
We
promise.
also have ECHL legend McDonald somewhere.
Oh, Jacob McDonald. Yeah, he's in the conversation too.
There you
Yeah,
go.
he sure is. Danny, any thoughts on the Sharks as bleak of a picture as we're painting
Yeah,
here?
I mean, I don't know why. I am probably higher on Kaapo Kähkönen than a lot of people are. I just felt like I think he got obviously the raw end of the deal when the Wild acquired Marc-Andre Fleury, and of course he had to be the one shipped out. There's just a lot of work that needs to be done, and you hope that after you traded away Timo Meyer that you can use those assets to kind of start this build. And it's going to be a rough couple of years. It's just crazy, and I don't say this as like the Golden Knights centric person here, because I'm far from a fan from that team since I'm around them so much, but it's just crazy how it was only 4 years ago the Erik Karlsson saga was shaping the Pacific Division and how it was going to change the complexion between the Golden Knights and the Sharks. And here we are after Erik Karlsson has such a monstrous season, a Norris Trophy winning season, and now the rebuild is settling in for the Sharks. It really is crazy just to see how quickly that drop-off came after that 2019 season. And just to see where they're at now. And they've got good pieces. Obviously, you hope Philip Zadina can eventually get his life together and get his body together to where he can produce at a quality NHL level. And of course, William Eklund, I think, is someone that Sharks fans should be very excited to watch going forward. But this is going to be the rebuild has probably begun 2 years ago when they fired Pete DeBoer, and now it's going to be rough in Northern California for sure.
Sin, any final thoughts on your team and how you're feeling about the season? Any other players that you're looking forward to?
Yeah, just to reiterate on Danny's point of just how quickly things seemingly changed was like, I mean, Vegas and the Sharks probably had one of, if not the fiercest rivalry for like 2 to 3 years. And we're like, holy crap, man. And then all of a sudden it just seemingly ended in a heartbeat. And obviously now Golden Knights are Stanley Cup champions and the Sharks are completely in the basement, which is honestly makes it feel a little bit better. It would probably suck more if we were competitive and we had to watch that team hoist the cup while we were like, probably one of the teams they plowed through on their way to do that. But yeah, it's nuts just how quickly things can change and how much different things maybe could have looked if certain things worked out. What if Erik Karlsson stayed healthy those first couple of years? Like what if? But it doesn't matter at this point. But yeah, the Sharks are gonna be trash, and I'm all for it. I've never seen this team rebuild. I became really a fan at like 5 years old, 95. They weren't great yet, and when I really start paying attention, you're looking at 97, 98, 99. They were building something, and then they started competing, and then then they trade for Joe Thornton in 2005, and all of a sudden they're a monster of a team, and that carries on pretty much until you have the Cup appearance in 2016. Then I think they fell back, missed the playoffs either that next year or the year after that, but then came back to the playoffs, conference finals in 2019, and then after that it just happened so fast. They couldn't. Doug Wilson worked his magic as long as he could. Maybe the league outgrew him. Maybe he lost some of his step. But either way, this is what we have now, and I'm honestly excited about the new direction that Greer is taking and the young talent that we do have. But there's so much work to be done. I'm not expecting anything great to happen in the next 2 to 3 years.